Me, to be an activist, it means to not be passive about your beliefs. It means to be very passionate, to not just like show that passion like to your family and your friends, but to show that to other people and to really convey, you know, why you believe in what you do and why you want to do what you do. Like what concerns you enough to where you had to speak out about it.
I'm the president of Students for Environmental Action this year.
One of our cores of our campaign is diversity, increasing diversity on the K-State campus, making sure that every community is respected. Now,
feminism, environmental activism. I'm big on animal rights.
Worked with the student government as a student sustainability director.
Caring about third world countries.
Like we're doing the Ryan White Food Pantry through the bread basket here, or Regional AIDS Project, and then we just started doing Camp Kendall like in May.
Manhattan Alliance for Peace and Justice, also called MAPJ.
I've worked throughout college at the Crisis Center in Manhattan. It's a shelter for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault.
For ordinary women. I work with the Campaign for Nonviolence on campus.
I do work at the Crisis Center. I work at the Women's Shelter, and
I'm very interested in sustainability as a spiritual issue and as an ecological issue and as a so we all have a future, you know.
And it doesn't matter about beliefs or sexuality or color or race or anything. It doesn't matter. We should all care about each other, and it's not just going to be one religion that's saved in the end. It's going to be the people who actually, I mean, if there is heaven and hell, the people who actually cared about other people and worked for good, not the people who just believed some religious doctrine and then just followed it blindly without ever questioning themselves or ever wondering what they're doing and the effect of what they're doing. What is that actually happening? What effect is that actually having on people?
Having it so that individuals can get the proper health care that they need and the proper support that they need. Preventing people from committing suicide, from falling into depressions, from not really fulfilling living up to who they are. And it's not just for the trans community. I really hope that my message just really has people look deep down inside themselves and just honor who they are as an individual and take a lot of pride in that.
And take a stand against any inequality. To realize that we all have a role and we all have the responsibility to stand up and say that it's wrong, and tell others to improve consciousness about an issue.
Okay, for me as a Unitarian Universalist, a lot of my spirituality comes from trying to participate in the non-human world in a way that enables it to flourish, as well as to be engaged with human beings in ways that enable them to flourish.
It's taking an active interest in something and actually doing something about it, instead of being like, oh, I support such and such. It means actually going out and doing something, whether that's volunteering, what you choose to do for your career, even just writing your senator a letter about what's important to you. But you have to do something.
I'm just doing everything to offset my parents, and then everyone else's activism is above and beyond and actually accomplishes something. My parents are obviously very, as conservative Southern Baptist missionary parents, very highly negative against the gay community. And so my activism is simply just trying to balance them out so that way I can actually do something with my life and change the world.
As I paid more attention, I realized that ancient prophets like Amos, Isaiah, Jesus were talking to and for the same people I was. And as I studied the New Testament, then I realized that the only people Jesus really reached out to were the disenfranchised. And it seemed like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Believed in a higher power. I've always believed, in, blessings being bestowed my way because of my efforts to pray and worship a higher power. The Bible, however, I have always been skeptical of how many times it's been translated. I've always been skeptical of some of the stuff that I just completely don't think that anything that I believe in would actually agree with. I've always had my own opinion about my own religion, and so that's when church started being like, this is not fitting with how I want my beliefs to really be.
The following clips contain interview material with leaders of religious institutions depicting the acceptance of women within the clergy and homosexuality within the church.
Pastors, but they have not always had the role of being senior pastor, and they are not always accepted in that role yet. More churches are becoming more accustomed to it. They still like a gender balance, though. They like to be able to have males and females on staff, and that's one of the challenges we face here, I think, in this church, and the fact that we have all female appointed staff. And so it's a great challenge, it's a great opportunity, and this church has rallied around us, which is really exciting. But there are those folks who still think that there needs to be a male person as the main preacher, or the male person as the main pastor. So it can be a challenging type of a role.
The United Methodist Church is one of the earliest denominations to really proclaim the rights of women, and in the early women's movement, the United or Methodist Church at that time was in the forefront of making that or helping that to happen. The church really sees the issue of homosexuality as something that they're really struggling with now overall, our denomination and many denominations. But if we look at the church overall and throughout history, we see people who were homosexuals that were acting in behalf of the church for a very long time. And now people are just becoming more confident to come out and say, this is who I am. It is incompatible with Christian teaching. However, each person is of sacred worth and value. And so while the homosexual community is welcome in the church, we do not allow homosexuals to be in the clergy.
Here at First Congregational United Church of Christ, we are what is known in the United Church of Christ as an open and affirming congregation, which means we have made a statement of welcome and inclusion, of affirmation of people regardless of sexual orientation, and also a number of other categories. Our statement includes not only sexual orientation, but also a statement of welcome based on a variety of groups of people who are sometimes discriminated against: transgender people based on their family configuration or race or socioeconomic issues, wide variety of things. But a part of that statement, a key part of that statement, is a welcome to people